Hi guys, it's your favorite piece of bacon right here, Maple Rose. Today I'm here to talk to you about rhinestoning. Now I know a lot of people get a little bit confused on where to start, what kind of techniques you use, what crystals you use, what glue, all of that crazy questions, and I'm here today to debunk all of the myths and help you get everything super sparkly. So guys, what are you rhinestoning? Is it a costume? Is it a bra? Is it a pair of knickers? Ooh, they're very tiny. Or is it just something fabulous like what I'm wearing? First of all, you have to choose your item. And your item, it can be anything, really. You can go for anything that's fabric-based, anything that's leather. Our pleather ends up being a little bit difficult with the glues that we use. You'd have to get expert advice on glues, but anything fabric, anything sequin, anything satin, jersey, you name it, we can rhinestone. So we'll head into that. Now I've got all my little baggies ready to go. Basically, your rhinestone choice is all determined by what you're doing. So it depends on if you want to make something that's a little bit more of a statement piece, or if you just want to add a little bit of sparkle onto a completely plain item. It all depends on the color and the size you're going for. Now you can, in most colors, buy either a straight clear crystal, or you can buy an Aurora Borealis or an AB crystal, which has a shot of different colors in it. So if you want to really shine on stage, a lot of us performers go for something that's a little bit AB, just because it adds a little bit more of a shot color through it. But a clear crystal will do just the same thing. All right, so we have a couple of different sizes of crystals here. Mostly and most commonly used are an SS20, which is about 4 millimeters long and wide. They're the pretty standard crystal size, and it's just an easier one to use in terms of tools and all that fun stuff as well. And you can see here the difference between a clear crystal and an AB crystal. One is just have all of these fun colors in it, as the other one is just pretty plain. You can also go for smaller or bigger sizes. So here I've got an SS10. And when you're using different crystal sizes, it's always dependent on the design that you're doing. So something like this would be for really fine, intricate work, or for a lace design. And here I also have some jet black. Now these are some of my favorites because jet black on a black costume just adds the most amazing, classy sparkle. We don't really want to be putting on a clear crystal on top of black, because then it starts to look like a cartoon. So once we start using black crystals, we can just add a little bit of shine to any plain black costume we've got. Now your last option to add here crystals is sewing, but you have to buy specific sew-on crystals. So you can buy ones that have claws already on them, like these guys. They also add a fun little design element to any kind of rhinestoning project. Look, I've got a leaf ready to go. Or you can buy crystals that have holes in them ready to go. These ones are just acrylic, so that means they're plastic. They're cheap. It means that you can shove so many on really quickly because you're just sewing them on. They do fall off if your stitching comes apart, but honestly, in terms of time and smell and mess, sew-on crystals are a good option. So I brought up hot fix, and you actually get a fancy little tool like this, where you literally plug it in and you iron each individual crystal on its own. It's great for making t-shirts and all that fun stuff, but when you're rhinestoning literally a whole costume, it ends up being a little time consuming. So we're just gonna tuck that away. That was very dramatic. But it's just a little bit too much to use. Us burlesque performers, we like to glue. Now, glue means that you have time to it's a flexible time where if you put the rhinestone in the wrong place, you can move it again. It's also, you can wash them delicately. It stretches with you. Honestly, glue is the best, and E6000 Fabric Fuse is the stuff that we love to use because it's non-toxic, won't give you cancer, but it's also extremely, extremely sticky. In order to do some rhinestoning, you need a fun rhinestone picker or some sort of tool that will help you pick up your rhinestone and put it on your garment. Your fingers don't work. They're too tacky and there's too much oil on them and they're too big, they're too fumbly. We're just not gonna use them. So we like to use some rhinestone pickers. This one has, oh, it's got fluff on it. This one has a little bit of wax on the end, which means when I pick up my rhinestone, it picks up on there, and then when I drop it on my glue, it just comes straight off. So these things are amazing. On the other end, we have a fun little pointer thing where we can move the rhinestone around if we need to. Now, if you don't have one of these and you're in a rush, or you're a cheap ass like myself, you can always make your own. So, you just get some plasticine or some really old blue tack. You don't want anything new, it's too tacky. You need something that's not as tacky as new blue tack. But, I love a good little cube of plasticine, and you just grab some off. I've chosen purple, it's already ripped to bits. ASMR. And you just kind of get it all nice and smushy, so it's nice and soft. This stuff has been sitting in my cupboard for a little bit, but it's gonna do the trick because it's perfectly and old. Get an old pen, you shove it on the end, and you make a nice point out of that plasticine. You could probably do something a little bit more sophisticated than what I've just done there, but that honestly is the same thing. You can pick up your rhinestone and you can put it back and it comes off. All right, so now you know how to rhinestone, but now it's figuring out what. Now the idea of adding some sparkle to your costume is to create a focus for people to look at while you're on stage. So the idea is you want the rhinestones to kind of accentuate what you want people to look at. Yeah, that's my face, obviously. So, sometimes it's your face, like this amazing costume where the lines are all coming up towards my face. Sometimes it's your boobies, so you're accentuating the top of the corset or the bottom of the corset to accentuate your bra. Sometimes it's your crotch, so you add a lot of bedazzles into a little bit of an area where it's super sparkly. It depends on what you're trying to accentuate in your costume. So the most basic design you can do is a basic scattering of rhinestones along your corset or costume wherever you want people to look at. So in this case on Asphyxia Couture's garment, she's rhinestoned all along the middle bit and the top of the bra cup of the corset, and then has randomly scattered them to get to a point where at the waist is most sparse. This is probably the easiest way to add any kind of coloring and sparkle to your costume without it being fully covered. It just makes it, a few items pick up a little bit, and then you don't use as many rhinestones as if you're completely covering it. With the basic scattering, you can also play with sizes and textures and different kinds of crystals. So for instance, this one I've started by doing a few major focal points with big crystals, and then slowly I kind of evenly spaced crystals in and around them to make them look like they're random, but they are very much set to a pattern that I've created. Now you can do this with sew-on crystals, you can do this with big stick-on crystals, you can even do it with iron-on decals that you buy from, say, eBay. All of that mainly just starts as a starting point for you to start rhinestoning a bit more of a pattern onto your garment. This one I made up on the spot, but you can always have fun bits and pieces. So rhinestones can also be, the focal point of your costume, and you can create patterns or images out of them. So of course, I'm the classiest piece of bacon, have a lot of maple leaf based stuff, so I've created rhinestone maple leaves. Now what I did to begin these is I pretty much cut out a shape that is the basic shape of a maple leaf, covered it in fabric, and then I followed an image that I found on the internet to create a completely new decal or an applique, and I've done that with my headpiece as well. They're all completely glued on, so of course over time you can see that crystals do come off, but the beauty of that is from the stage, no one's gonna see, they're just gonna see that it's all completely orange. The other option you can do if you want to have a image is you can always buy one ready to go. So on eBay, I found this amazing little maple leaf decal. It's an iron-on, really easy to use, and I've literally just ironed one on to the shoulder of my sleeve. Now this is a good starting point to, even if I wanted to continue rhinestoning, buying matching rhinestones, or creating a focal point, or creating those, just like the corset I showed before, little accents that you can then base your design off of. They're fun, they're cheap, go for it, they look great, can't complain. So, do you want to fully cover a piece? I'll give you my handy tidbit. I like to use different sizes. I find using different sizes of crystals and creating a random effect makes it sparkle even more. It also means that you can get into all those nooks and crannies in a very clean way that if you were just using SS20 the whole way over, can be sometimes a little bit difficult. Now, what I like to do is I start in the middle of the garment and I completely bedazzle a straight line down the middle. You can probably see right along there that I have started creating one full line in a mix of different colors, different sizes. Now from there, I begin to build a pattern off it. So if I do one on one side, I will match it on the other side. Again on one side, match it on the other side. And then I slowly start to build that in using small crystals and larger crystals to get all of that fully covered. As I said, this means that every single nook and cranny looks like it's covered, but it also gives you that super epic sparkle that one crystal would still just sparkle just as much, but it just means it has a couple of more edges to catch that light. Let's kind of start adding a few more rhinestones to this very basic black bra. Got my glue, my really fabulous glue, E6000, I love it. And I've already done 2 rows of a full coverage of black, jet black crystal. Now I'm going to begin to start to randomly scatter a few more crystals on it. So my idea is once you fill it up, you then get your little glue and you get a nice little dab and you just kind of evenly space a few dots ready to go along the line that you want. Grab your crystals, do this as quick as we can, and you begin to evenly space but yet scatter so they look like they're random, but really they're very evenly spaced so we don't run out of crystals or run out of space. So let's do the next line. Pretend that this is all done. We'll do the next line where it's a little less spaced out. You can also add a couple in the middle just to make it a little bit more random. And let's add a couple more at the top here and here. And there we go. We'll probably add one little one in here, just to make it look a little bit more evenly spaced. And that's kind of a basic scattering of rhinestones, as if we were continuing all the way up here. So, you can also rhinestone a pattern. Now, following the pattern of the fabric is probably the easiest way to create a pattern. Leopard print, one of our classics here in burlesque, is one of the easiest to pattern because it's already a random pattern. So what I'm going to do is I've got 2 colors. I've got my black and I've got this fun little Aurora Borealis topaz. Just going to start sticking a couple of globs on, ready to go. And I'm going to choose them based on the color that I am rhinestoning. Got a black one, put it on the black section. Got a topaz one, check it on the topaz section. Can always get a really awesome TV series to keep you occupied while you do all of this rhinestoning. Can you see that? And now you've got a little rhinestone section. From stage, that's just gonna make your pattern look sparkly. Up front, it just looks like you got big globs on it, but that's absolutely fine. So there you have it. Now you have all of the basic tools to go and make something pretty bedazzled. Now remember, you just need a rhinestone picker or a fun little plasticine pen, some glue, some crystals, and whatever you're rhinestoning. Enjoy a good series of television. I like Friends personally myself, and just dive on in and have some fun.